So in my family, Thanksgiving dinner was always held at my grandmother Clara's house, a few hours away from me since I live in a city and my family lives in the suburbs. But this year, thanks to COVID-19, my grandmother was one of those at risk, so we didn't have her this year. Call my family and I pussies or whatever, I don't really care. So instead, we had our family gathering at my cousin Adam's place. It's not that it was a letdown, but my grandmother Clara's house is huge, and cousin Adam's house is, well, let's just say it was a tight fit for all 24 of us to fit into one room. I was the last one there, of course. Hell, I'm surprised my Uncle Terry didn't just say fuck it and start eating before I even got there. The first hour went well. We ate the appetizers, I talked with my sister, who I haven't seen for almost a year, and then I got to listen to her kid, son William, ramble on for 20 minutes about some video game called Among Us. It's really only when the main meal was ready that this dinner turned sideways, for lack of a better term. All of us were back at our seats, phones and iPads away, awaiting my mother's arrival with the turkey. This was her first year being responsible for the turkey since Grandma Clara has always been doing it, for the past 28 years in fact. Finally, after forcing myself to sit through an entire conversation between my liberal cousin Alice and conservative Uncle Terry about the election, Mom thankfully walked over with the turkey platter, sitting down. And holy shit, this turkey was incredible. I don't know what my mother added that made it so flavorsome, but it must have been a gift from God himself. It was really that great, or as William put it, extremely marvelous. About 10 minutes after we all resumed eating, a car alarm went off. All of us stopped talking and laughing and sort of just stared at one another, expecting one of us to get up and check. Alright, fine, I croaked before standing up and walking towards the door, putting my trench coat back on due to the absolutely freezing temperature it was outside. Turns out it was my parents' car. I went over to investigate and found a card placed on the roof over the engine. I picked it up and saw the words "Gobble Gobble" written in what looked like cranberry sauce. I sighed and realized it was one of Adam's crappy teenage neighbors he's always complaining about. According to him, these two teenage jackasses that live down his block are always messing with him, so much one point that he actually called the police on them in a hope that they would intimidate them into stopping. Clearly, it didn't work. I looked around expecting to see a couple of kids hiding behind a bush filming me, but instead I saw a turkey. Well, like an actual turkey walking down the sidewalk towards me. I just stared at it until it walked up next to me and stopped. Its head was facing straight ahead before snapping its direction towards me, two bloodshot eyes staring back at me. I blurted out, "Holy shit," before backing up and stumbling into my parents' car. That's when I also noticed that this turkey was covered in blood. After a few more seconds of a really creepy staring contest, the bird flung its head backwards, unnaturally upwards, before running off down the sidewalk. What the hell? I jogged back inside and told my parents to turn off their car. I didn't mention the turkey and whatever happened back there. My family clearly picked up on the fact that I was spooked about something, but none of them were willing to stop and ask. Except for William. "Uncle Arthur, are you okay? You look like you just saw a ghost." My family chuckled, but then waited for me to answer. Luckily, actually not lucky at all, I was saved by the bell, literally. Just before I was about to lie to everyone and say it was nothing, a bell rang from outside in the front. "The hell is that?" my father asked. "I don't know," I responded. "Is it Santa? Because he's early," William piped in. I really didn't want to check after what happened earlier, but when Dad and Uncle Terry both got up, I figured I would be safe from whatever the hell is outside now. So there we were, the three of us standing outside in our coats, snow now falling down on top of us, and a man dressed as a pilgrim staring at us from the middle of the street, ringing a bell. Now the thing is, this pilgrim was huge, height-wise. He was like 6'9", 6'10". Jesus Christ, Uncle Terry muttered. And if this whole situation didn't sound fictional to you yet, it's definitely going to now. The pilgrim dropped the bell and then started chanting in some sort of weird historic language. It was so fast it honestly sounded like he was rapping. Now, at this point, Dad was freaked out enough and went back inside. Uncle Terry and I were still out there staring. Just then, the chanting stopped and the pilgrim turned around, back facing us, and walked down the street sideways, crab-like, eventually disappearing out of our sight. Uncle Terry and I glanced at each other before that damn turkey came running back down the sidewalk, head still facing upwards. "Alright, what the fuck?" Uncle Terry blurted out before turning around and going back inside. The turkey then stopped and spun its head towards me. I stared back at it for a few seconds before it whipped its head back around and continued running, the same route the pilgrim vanished off to. I don't know whatever the hell happened yesterday at Thanksgiving. What I do know is that I am never going to Adam's house for Thanksgiving dinner. Ever again. P.S. I saw that goddamn turkey on the way home.